they look at self-development, they think it's just like, just talk and it's just things, but they don't know that mindset is the key to life. Once you conquer your mind, bro, your mind is the gate. It's a gateway to unlocking everything, everything that you ever desired in life. Anything that you want to do in life, it starts in the mind. You have the ability to create, to think and create whatever you want to do for yourself in life. Whether you want to be successful, whether you want to be happy, wealthy, whatever. Like you want to be a better person. It all starts in the mind.
They say humans are social animals. They can't live alone. But you can live pretty well by yourself. I tell you, instead of feeling alone in a group, it's better to have real solitude all by yourself.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Today we got a special guest in the building. Someone who gives me a lot of motivation, a lot of drive. He is just a motivator, a Instagram social media god. And we're gonna go into a little bit more about what he does, but I want him to say it throughout his mouth. He's going to convey it a little bit better than me. We have Javier Lee in the building, guys.
Oh man, gotta say what I said again. Oh man, I'm so thank you so much, my brother.
How you doing today, man?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed, man. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
No problem. So what have you been up to these days, man?
I'm sorry I was being real. How are you doing today?
No, you good. I'm doing real good, man. It's a little bit hot where I'm at, but I gotta do it for the love of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it, man.
But you asked me what I've been up to?
Yes, sir.
I've been working on me. Well, I've been working on me as well as my businesses, along with my partner Natalia. But a lot of it has really just been a lot of self-development, man. A lot of finding myself, fulfilling my purpose. I realized what my purpose was after a lot. It was a time in my life where I was but really depressed, and so I had to really do a lot of soul searching. And along doing that, I was able to find my purpose in life. And so now, what I do every day is to try to fulfill my purpose every day. Just try to make the world better than I left it. So that's been what I've been up to, just working.
What got you to that point of depression?
I probably was depressed for a very long time, but I just didn't know what to call it. You see us as men, as black men, we suffer from a lot of different things. We harbor a lot of emotions that we don't really, talk about. And if we do, we don't really talk about it to a full extent. So I feel like I always had some bits and pieces of depression in me, family trauma, all kind of stuff that I was going with. And then, I graduated from college. I graduated from college on my birthday. So it was like a midlife crisis and a college, like career crisis at the same time. So everything hit me on like a big ball. And so, I was applying for jobs and, getting interviews and working, jobs that wasn't really in my field, and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled at all. I felt like I was just stressing. I wasn't happy. I was in a really bad place, though. I felt like I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't, it was just a really dark place for me. And so that's how I found myself really, and I started really looking at it. I talked to my girlfriend's mom, and that's where I was like, man, I think I really am depressed. This is what depression is, huh? I guess I was able to put a name to it. I'm sure a lot of us, suffer from it. We just don't know what to call it, if that makes sense.
I know I was talking to one of my friends right when I graduated, and I was just feeling a little bit down, and I didn't know why. And she kind of put it to me like this. She said, on that day of graduation, everybody's so happy for you. This is supposed to be like that shining moment for you. And everybody it's so much pressure in that moment because although you have just completed that long journey, you have so much more to go, and people are looking to you and a lot of people, especially in my community, they're usually like first generation. So they'll come out of that after that graduation feeling so much pressure because life is hard even after graduation. You still have to. It's very competitive. You still have to go out, interview for a ton of jobs. You usually don't have that much experience, so you're going with a lot of other people who have that experience. It's very competitive, and you turn on social media, especially for us, our generation. You turn on social media, and it's just a highlight reel of being successful and going on vacations and opening up businesses, and you just kind of sitting there like, okay, I graduated, I'm supposed to be doing all of this. but I'm
like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I'm just not living up to what I thought I would be doing at this moment. And you might have been in a bunch of different organizations throughout college, been very involved, and then you just graduated, and it's kind of like nothing. It's no syllabus.
Right.
There's no syllabus for life, right?
That's a good answer. There's no syllabus for life. That's a good answer. And it's, it's funny that you mentioned social media. Because I do a lot on social media. A lot of my businesses, I have to really, engage and utilize the power of social media. But the thing with social media too, especially in our community, is it's powerful and it's destructive at the same time, right?
Right.
So you're able to reach the masses. You're able to reach people all over the world. Different age groups, work bracket, walks of life all over the world. The thing about social media is that people are just showcasing parts of their life. So a lot of times you see the good on social media. You see people with their families. You see people going all across the world. You see mostly the success, the good thing, like you don't really get to see the whole picture. And so when you're in the depressive state of mind, like you see all these things and you're like, oh man, these people are happy. These people got this. These people got that. But you don't really see what goes on outside of that, because you don't know where that person is. You don't know what state of mind that person was when they took that picture. They took that picture smiling, but deep down they were sad. They were empty. They weren't being fulfilled. They took that picture traveling, but that picture was like from 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Or they traveled and they were sleeping. They were sharing rooms. They were sleeping on the floor. It's like there's a lot of different things you don't really know. And so, but that's the thing about the mind. We don't think about any of those things. We just see what we see. And so that's why it's very powerful, but it's destructive at the same time if we let it. That's my take on social media. Like you just see the good. Not everybody's willing to show you like that raw and that bad, not the bad, but that raw part of it. That the things that people are not willing to really show people. And that's one thing that, like, when it comes to social media, that I do with my social media. I try to show people the good and the bad sides about it. I talk about mental health. I talk about a lot of different things on my social media. I try to utilize it for that purpose, because not everybody's willing to let you walk into their mind. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's kind of like, the one thing about people is that we don't want to be judged by others. We try to be mindful of people watching and try to keep the perfect image. But that's one thing that I'm trying. I know I'm going to tangent, but that's one thing that I'm trying to kind of do, is kind of like break that stereotype of people having to be perfect. It's nothing wrong with being imperfect. Because when you recognize that your imperfections, that's when you're able to become the best version of yourself.
And you just dropped so many gems, man. And I kind of want to break it down a little bit, because you just said a whole lot. Even from when you were saying that social media is a showcase, and to me, that's exactly what it is. They're not going to show you. They're not going to show you how much practice it took to get to that point. How many bumps and bruises it took to get to that point. They're never going to show you that, because it's not as sexy as people trying to be. You know what I mean? It's not as attractive. So I mean, to me, I love that stuff. Though I love to hear about the grind, and you had to not eat. You had to eat a bunch of hot dogs every day, and then you finally got to that steak. You know what I mean? I love that comeback story. Yeah. For me, that's the part I love, man. And just people just show that good side. Like, they'll show a new car, but after they take that picture, like you were saying, they don't tell you, oh, I don't have gas to get to the store. They just showing you that picture. That's that facade, and that kind of puts us, like we said earlier, that just puts you back into that depression mode, especially with us and the generation after us. That's all they're gonna see is a highlight reel.
All they're gonna see is a highlight reel and highlights of just facade. I like seeing that transparency, like that rawness, because that's where the real comes in. It shows you that we're real people, that we are. Everybody has these thoughts and these moments where they feel like, man, things are not going my way, and it's okay. And it's okay not to be perfect. You made the example, people just show you like the good times and everything. Like, they don't show you like the practicing it. And with social media, a lot of people, for example, when a girl posted herself, she probably took like 500 pictures just to get that one perfect picture. Right. Perfect in her mind.
And then put it into the app. And then put it into the app.
And then put it into the app to get, just to bring out more. And it's like, and to be honest, the 499 pictures before that probably was the same picture. It probably looked perfect. But the thing about it is, the thing about human beings too that I learned, Jesse, is that we don't even take the time to look at ourselves through our own eyes, and we look at ourselves through the eyes of other people's eyes. You know what I mean? And so we see what we think other people see. You know, and that's one of the issues that we suffer as not even just our culture, but the human race, social anxiety. We see ourselves from the eyes of other people, how we think other people see us, forgetting that, you know, that we all go through the same stuff, bro. We all suffer from the same stuff, bro. And so we're over here thinking about, oh man, I wonder what they're thinking about me. And that person that they're worrying about is probably thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? So we all thinking the same thing and we suffering from the same thing, but yet we put so much value on other people's feelings of ourselves. We overvalue people's opinions and undervalue ourselves, underappreciate ourselves. And that's one thing that, you know, I'm trying to break. So I mean by self-development, I've been trying to like become the best me. I be talking to myself like, yo, Javier, like, you're the best, bro. Like, cause you know, I'm 26 now. I say for like the last few years, like it's been me. Well, you know me personally. I'm a cool person. I feel like I always try to motivate people and try to like, you know, uplift the people around me and, you know, cheer on my brothers and sisters. Like, yeah, you're the best. But I never took the time to do that for myself. And I feel like that was one of my issues, was that I was trying to do that for everybody else but me. And that's what a lot of us do. We cheer on everybody else. Everybody else is biggest cheerleaders. But then when it comes to ourselves, we're quiet, we're ghosts. And then, you know, we quit on ourselves easy. We can't self-motivate ourselves. And so I have to shift that and become my biggest fan. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be like, yo, Javier, like, yo, like, what you doing, bro? Like, get up. You're the best. You can do it. Like, you're the best. It's not even saying that I'm better than anybody else, but it's just saying that taking the time to appreciate myself. I still appreciate everybody else, but making sure that I know that, hey, this is your show. You shine. You shine your light. And by you shining your light, you allow other people to shine their light too. And now there's a world full of light.
Right. Even going back to what you were saying about how we kind of expect others to give us ours. I just want to touch on that because that was something that I see a lot of people doing and that I did myself. Is you might help somebody else out, or you might do something, and then you just want other people to give you praise and want other people to give you things. Now I'm realizing, no, you have to take everything. You have to take everything. You got to take all your accolades. You have to take all your motivation. You can't look for other people for gratification. And if you do, then when you are high, it would be nothing to motivate you to go higher because you'll just kind of get stagnant. You're still waiting on people to clap. You're still waiting on people to pat you on the back. No, you have to take it. You got to take it.
You got to be able to celebrate yourself too, man. Because like you said, if you're so used to getting that acknowledgement from other people, when there's nobody around you, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you have to wake up to yourself. You have to go and speak to yourself. Your mind, the thing about your mind is nobody else is there but you. When all that other noise is not there anymore, is that noise in your head that you still have to find a way through. You know, you have to get, you have to clear out that noise in your head. That's your consciousness. You know what I mean? That's always going to be there. No matter who's around you, that's always there. So if you don't know how to talk to yourself nice or encourage yourself, the only thing that's going to come from that is bad thoughts and depressive thoughts. That's where depression comes in. Like the years of just not talking to yourself nice and, you know, negative thinking.
Right, negative thinking for sure. I forget where I was reading it or where I heard it. A lot of people are just scared of success because when you get that success, then what? Like I'm hearing I'm hearing it from a lot of different places. You can become rich, you can become wealthy and reach your goals, but after you reach your goals, then what? What's gonna keep you going? What's gonna motivate you? And if it's only other people, if it's only people outside of yourself, then you're gonna lose it. Staying rich is harder than getting rich. And
man, bro, getting rich, it's so easy to get rich. Like, I got so many plans. I know how I'm gonna make $1 million a million different ways. But like you said, it's about staying rich.
Right.
And a lot of times that people have the idea of success. They just want to they just know they want to be rich. They just want a lot of money. They just want to, but there's no why attached to it. Right. And so when there's no why attached to something, you can get it done, but then as easy as you get it done, you can lose it because there was nothing really fueling it. That's why it's always good to have a strong purpose. Like my purpose in life, like I know I'm gonna become wealthy, but why do I want to become wealthy? I want to become wealthy so I can help my family, so I can help my community. But my ultimate goal in life is to help the world. You know, I have this thing that sounds crazy. Like in the next 5 years, I want to help inspire 5 million people to think and create freely of their own independent thought. You know what I mean? Like that's my why. That's my purpose. I want to help people. Like for a long time, I didn't know how to think for myself. Like I let the opinions of other people dictate my actions, what I was gonna do, how I was gonna live my life. That's how a lot of people. That's what a lot of people have going on. You know, like they don't know how to think for themselves. There's no why attached to what they do. But when you have a purpose, bro, when you get something, like you know how to keep it because there's a purpose. There's something filling you every day. There's something that's pushing you to keep going. Like, oh man, I can't quit. I have to help these people. Ah man, I can't. It's bigger than me. When something is just limited to self, in a sense, there's no fulfillment, and so there's nothing. Once you crush your goals, it's just like, oh, there's nothing left. But once your goal is to continue to become better,
Right.
to continue to help people, that's one of the thing about life is, bro. Life is really about helping people, being of service to other people. When you live your life like that, you're never gonna have to wonder like
What?
what's next,
Yeah.
because
What's
you know like
next?
there's always someone around the corner to help.
When I first met you, you were very chill, dude. You always been very chill, very like introspective and
Yeah,
motivated. In the last couple years, you've kind of like grown in a different direction.
yeah,
What pushed you in that new direction, and what
yeah,
keeps
new
you going in
direction.
that new direction?
Well, me personally, like, yeah, I've always been chill, but one thing about me is too that for a very long time, I think I was so chill because I think part of me was always scared, like scared to be great. Like I knew I had a great personality. I knew that people, kind of listen to me when I speak. Things that keep you back is like your environment. Sometimes the crowd that you're around. And just like your own thoughts. That my thoughts kept me back. Like I always was doubting myself. So I was never reaching to my full fulfillment. But then, I started like self development. I really started like really like analyzing who Javier is. What does Javier want to do? I started reading certain books. I started watching certain videos. And I started like really changing my perspective on things. I started diving into my spirituality, and studying certain things, and then that's what really gave me that shift. It's funny that 'cause I watched the movie last night, by a guy, rest in peace, Dr. Wayne Dwyer. He's actually the author of The Power of Intention. That's a really good book.
Oh,
It's a gem. You
okay.
guys gonna read it. The Power of Intention is really good. He wrote a book, and he has a movie called The Shift, and it was like people, when it comes to spirituality, it comes into something like when people say you're woke. You know what I'm saying? It's like a shift in people. It's something that really changes them, like their way of thinking. And I think that's what happened with me. That's the thing that you're referring to. There was a shift in me. I really started really realizing that there was more to life, dog. There was more to life than just parties, drinking and smoking, gossiping, and just drifting through life. And that's what I was doing for a very long time. I was chill. I was introspective. I was really, I had good conversation, but I was drifting. You know what I'm saying? I was just finessing. I was just
Mm,
getting by, getting through life. I was always quick to finesse some shit, really make things happen. But I could make things happen, but I wasn't really making things happen. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could do this, I could do that, but I wasn't really doing it to my best potential. I had all these gifts, but I was too scared to use them because I was worried about what people would say. Like how I would say I was scared of messing up, scared of failing, but the scary thing about success is that you have to fail to succeed. They
mm,
say success is 90% failure. I was scared to fail, but so how was I going to be successful if I was scared to fail? Success is 90% failure and 10% perseverance, and not quitting and keeping going. Because the thing about failure is that it doesn't exist. Failure is just really temporary defeat. You never really fail. Because if you keep going, you learn the lesson, and once you learn the lesson in life, you won't make that mistake again, and you won't that failure that you thought was there was really something that showed you how to win.
right.
So I had to really make that shift in myself and realize that I really wanted to win, and I couldn't let anything stop me, no matter if it was somebody that I really cared about or whether it was myself. I had to get out my own way, and that's what I did.
You're dropping so many gems, man.
Yeah,
When's the book
appreciate
coming, man? When's the book coming?
that. Oh man. Well, I do have my first book already. I already have it written out. I just have to finish getting it edited and getting it published. It's a book of poetry called The Metamorphosis of Me, which is a I wrote this book like after I read the book Think and Grow Rich for the first time. And so that book that's another gem. That book really that's a man, that's a gem. If you take the time to read that book will change your life. Think and Grow Rich, but really read it. There's a lot of them they dropping that junk that you have to really pay attention to. But that would really it's funny that people they look at self development, they think it's just like, just talk and it's just things, but they don't know that mindset is the key to life. Once you conquer your mind, bro, your mind is the gate. It's a gateway to unlocking everything. Everything that you ever desired in life, anything that you want to do in life, it starts in the mind. You have the ability to create, to think and create whatever you want to do for yourself in life. Whether you want to be successful, whether you want to be happy, wealthy, whatever, like you want to be a better person, it all starts in the mind. And so self development is so important, bro. But I started writing that book right after reading that book. I got the idea, cause I always wanted to write a book of poetry, but I just never acted on it. And so that was my problem. I get an idea and I start, but then I don't finish, or I just come up with an excuse, and I just get so I don't be present. I just be jumping from one thing to the next, hustling through life, trying to finesse. But I have to take the time to really write it. So it's a book of poetry that kind of stems from some of those principles. It talks about like my childhood. A lot of the a lot of the principles and values that I learned in that book, I kind of translated it to a poetic sense. I can actually read one of them for you if you want me to.
Of course. Come on, man.
I got you. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna actually read the first poem of it. So the book itself is actually broken up into 5 different chapters, and each chapter has like an introduction, intro story to it, and then a poem. So it's 25 stories and 25 like short stories and 25 short poems. But I feel like they're really good. And so the first chapter is called Childhood. And so a lot of people don't realize that when you're a kid, you really manifest the life that you want. Like you really don't know for an answer. Kids usually get what they want. They dress up. They say, I want to be this, I want to be that. And it's funny that in life, whenever you put your mind to something with a definite purpose that you want to become something and you're willing to do whatever it takes, 9 times out of 10, you actually become that thing. And so that's the thing about children is that there are purest forms of life. And so it's kind of funny that that was the first chapter of the book. So the first chapter is childhood. And this is the first story right here. I wonder what went through our minds when we were like 7 years old, before the world got a hold of us. What did you want to be? I think at that age, I wanted to be a policeman or a firefighter. I wanted to save people and stop all the bad guys. I mean, I'm not too far off from that idea. I mean, I still want to help people, but at that age, I feel like I could be whatever I wanted to do. I don't remember feeling like this dream was silly or unattainable or anything like that. We even used to dress up like these things or people we wanted to be. I'm sorry. We pretended and imagined ourselves doing all these things. We probably used to make the little sounds too. It's so real in our minds that you can't tell us anything different. When we were young, we don't believe in can't. Everything we want it. And when we can't have it, we used to get mad and throw a tantrum and try any way to get it. We try to find a way to get it anyway. Do we do that anymore, or do we just accept what life gives us? Man, I wish I was a kid again. So that was the short story, and this is the poem. The poem is called Kid Again. Man, I wish I was a kid again. I mean, that way I could truly live again. As a kid, we knew how it felt to really dream. Back then, we knew what things weren't really as they seemed. We weren't afraid to make believe or wish upon a star, or that if we tried really, really hard, we could make it really, really far. But nowadays, some of us are really, really scarred. Maybe because someone told us that we could never be what we wanted to be, or the idea that we have in our heads is silly or couldn't happen all because they couldn't see. I wish I was a kid again, because back then, I didn't care or dare stop dreaming because I thought it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for anyone to tell me no. So why do I accept it now? How could I let someone who never done anything for themselves tell me how? From this day on, I'm going to be a kid again. And now I'll never let someone else tell me how to live again if I was a kid again. Food for thought. So that's the first story and the first poem from my book, The Metamorphosis of Me.
Wow, I really like that. I like how you broke it down in the beginning and then like went into the story, because it kind of added to the poem. It kind of gave me chills, man. I got chills right now, like listening to it.
Man, thank you, bro.
Wow.
I really appreciate that.
But I heard you said something in there that kind of like struck me. Or who was that person who told you couldn't do something? Or was that kind of like a blanket statement?
You said who was that person? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last time.
Right. Who was that person, and how did you kind of get through that?
I feel like that person is not really just one person. It's actually society. You know what I mean? So that was like a metaphor for society. Society tells us that, that you can't really be what you want to be. You gotta fall in line. You know what I mean? You gotta be like everybody else. You gotta like dim down your light. You just be like everybody else. You know, you can't be different. You can't be great. You know, you get a trophy for just, you know, I don't know. Society just makes people want to be regular. You know, they make it seem like, you know, you have to take this route. You have to go to college. You have to get a 9 to 5 job. You know, it's not okay to follow your dreams. Not, you know, it's okay. You know, whether your dream is to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a singer, or a painter, a dancer, actor, a cook, you know, a pilot. But oftentimes is society or even our family and friends. They be like, oh, no, your dream is too big, or you know what I'm saying? Oh, that could never happen. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, like I look at like one of my role models actually is Steve Harvey. And so one of the videos that I watched, you know, he talks about his story a lot is when, you know, he wanted to always be on TV. And then, you know, one of his elementary school teacher, there was an assignment like, you know, write down on a piece of paper what you want to do what you want to be when you grow up. You know, everybody else is saying like, you know, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a scientist or whatever. And he said, I want to be on TV. And back then he had a speech impediment, so he couldn't really speak properly. He used to stutter a lot. He used to like, you know, like get nervous because I want to be on TV. The teacher, you know, read everybody's stuff and was like, hey, come in front of the classroom, Steve. And you know, she put him in front of the classroom. She was like, you want to be on TV? And he was like, yeah, you know, he was stuttering. She was like, anybody in your family ever been on TV? He was like, no. Anybody in the school been on TV? He was like, no. Anybody in this whatever? And who you know been on TV? He was like, nobody. And she was like, exactly, you'll never be on TV. You know what I mean? So like just back then, she tried to crush his goals. Steve Harvey, look at who Steve Harvey. You can't turn on your TV or your radio or read a book or something that you won't see his name. He's embedded in this history. He's embedded in our culture. But somebody back then, his teacher tried to crush his goals from back then. And that's the same thing that I feel like society tries to do if you allow it to. So that really wasn't really just one person. But I feel like I had a lot of dreams that even just being a black male in society that like you can't. They you know, oftentimes they limit us to like sports or music or stuff like that. But they don't, you know, we could be a doctor, we could be a lawyer, you can be a actor. You know, it's more than just physical skills. We have one of the strongest mental capacities. We're human beings, just like everybody else. So just things like that. That's really what it was. And I'm pretty sure other people. I'm not gonna say their names or anything like that. Of course, there's, you know, it's been times where I feel like I was doubted. I feel like one of my biggest forms of doubt just really came from myself too, just doubting my own ability.
Yeah,
I overcame that by just believing in myself now.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest opponent is ourselves usually, beating ourselves, and really that's your only opponent. You shouldn't be worried about trying to prove anything to anybody but yourself, and trying to beat anybody but yourself. I mean, you can use them as a good marker.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, your motivation, your drive, your competitive spirit should be trying to beat the person you were yesterday.
Precisely, my brother, and that's where the shift came in too. I was really trying to prove everybody else wrong. Prove everybody else. You know what I'm saying? My big thing was I was trying to prove them wrong. I was trying to, you know, like let other people's opinions dictate my life. But really, what I should have been doing all that time was proving myself right. If you take the time to stop putting the focus on proving people wrong, and just prove yourself right about whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, you would be so much further in life. You would have so much more fulfillment because now you take the pressures off of trying to make other people happy, and now you're just trying to make yourself happy. And that's the ultimate goal in life, is to be happy.
I love it, man. I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on this podcast, man, because you're just full of gems. It's like you're a monk, man. It's like you've been meditating for years. Like you got so much going on. But
I appreciate it.
But I cannot let you go before we talk about your superpowers and your businesses, right? When I say superpowers, for everybody listening, this guy is a social media maniac. He's everywhere. You turn on Instagram, you turn on Twitter, you're going to be there. And it was funny. I just read this book called 10X, right?
Yeah, Grant Cardone.
Right, Jim Cardone. And he was talking about how you should, whatever you're trying to do, you need to multiply it by 10. If you want to, the average person is posting 1 time a week, you need to post 10 times a week. I was looking, and while I was reading this, I actually went on social media, and then I saw you.
You saw the post.
And I saw your 5 posts in one day. So I was like, man, this guy is going in. And it was something that happened too. And I'm not gonna put anybody's names out or anything like that, but somebody said something to me. He was like, man, this man Javier is aggravating, man. He's always on social media. he's doing too much, man. I'm tired of seeing him on social media talking and this and this and that.
I love it.
And I was and reading that book, right? Reading the book, it says when people are saying you're doing too much, you putting in too much effort. That's when you know you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, nah, man, this man's Javier is putting in that work. This is what he's supposed to be doing. He's putting in that work because he knows where he's going and he knows what it takes to get there. So, man, I just want to give you some love for that and wanting to share that with you, and hopefully that motivates you even more to go harder.
Bro, to be honest, that was all I needed right there, man. Thank you so much. And whoever said that, God bless you. Thank you. Hopefully I turn up even more and you got my post notifications on because it's about to get even worse now. Thank you.
Talk your shit, man.
Thank you so much. Now I know I gotta go harder.
But before I let you go, I definitely need you to explain your businesses and anything else you have going on for the people.
Okay.
Any ways to support you. I know you got sat raps, but I'm gonna let you explain. I'm gonna let you explain it. Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Well, yes, we do got sat raps. Actually, everything started with sat raps. I'm so grateful for the opportunity with sat raps. Sat raps World Wear is a luxury hair accessory company that my girlfriend Natalia, my partner Natalia, and her mother, Jennifer Maxwell, they both had. And after, when I graduated, that's what another thing that helped me shift. I was able to join that team. They had a product. They had one product, and I was able to help them expand their product into two more different products. They had satin hair accessory called the Sat Wrap, which is a 2-in-1 reversible satin hair wrap. That actually helped them add two more products, which was the King's Crown, which is a do-rag. Now it's the best do-rag on the market. Is the crown, as well as the Taji, which is a bonnet. Taji actually means crown in Swahili. And so, I was able to help them expand that into every state in the U.S. Now we're in 5 different countries as well. We actually just added a new product last night called the Beard Bonnet. Check out that. It's about to blow up too. The Beard Bonnet, the satin bonnet for men with beards. Jazzy Jeff, if you're listening, we need you as a beard model. But so we have that as well. That was actually really something I went to school for at first. Originally was marketing. And so that's always been my passion, marketing, branding, everything like that, being able to use my gift of storytelling. So I was able to help transcend this brand into a global enterprise. And so that really was what started Food for Thought Marketing, which is a marketing and management company. We specialize in social media management as well as brand strategy. And then from there, we dived into web development. And so now me and my partner, Natalia, we also have a global design agency known as Web Jackers, where we actually do brand strategy and website design. We actually a global company now. We actually have hired in 8 months. We taught ourselves how to not only create websites and design websites, but now we expanded our team. We actually have people working for us, not really working for us, but they work for themselves, but with us. They're a part of the team, the Webjackers team. We have people in France, we have people in South Africa, and we just hired somebody in India. So now we're a global entity as well. So we're all about giving people opportunity to become the best version of themselves. And so that's all we strive for at, Sat Raps, Webjackers, and Food for Thought, to be the best versions of ourselves and inspire other people to be the best versions of themselves.
Man, I want to say thank you for coming on. And I love your story. I love your mindset. And you're definitely going to hear from me in the future. Hey, man.
Thank you for the opportunities, bro. I'm proud of you, bro. I know this is about me, but this is about you too, man. I was actually talking to my brother Trayvon today, and he talked about what you have going on with your podcast, and it's amazing how you're giving everybody the opportunity to, come on here, but not only that, but to get their stuff going on as well. And I heard that if they had a podcast, they're able to, utilize it. You give them a space, opportunity to fund to do their podcast using your equipment.
That's
exactly what it is. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that out loud.
No, you're good. You're good. That's the model, man. A mobile podcast studio. You can follow me on social media at SpeakUp Network. We allow you guys to use our equipment, and we also provide editing and distribution. So definitely, if you're
looking amazing, bro.
Yes, sir.
Me, myself, and Natalia and her mother, we have our podcasters coming, and we don't have the equipment, so we're definitely going to be utilizing your services. And I recommend anybody who has a podcast, has an idea of a podcast, and they love to talk to people, they love to talk to themselves, to come and use my brother Jesse's services. He's the best. He's one of the best people when it comes to having a conversation, a insightful conversation. He's the best, man. If you want to feel good about yourself and what you're doing in life, just have a good conversation. You gotta check on my man Jesse, man. He's the best, man.
Wow, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, and we're out.